All right, good afternoon. Let's get started. I have Mr. McPherson here at the courthouse with Matthew Dylan Riddle. It is number 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is an in-person hearing. Mr. Riddle was deemed to be incompetent. His mother is present here. Mr. McPherson, Mr. Heller, your announcements on this case?
Judge, we're still trying to consult with Belinda over on the civil section to see if we can do something to force him to take medication. Perhaps being on medication, he'll become competent.
Judge, what we're trying to do, I know Judge Remit is of the 332nd. There's a waiting list and he'll have to wait almost a year, 6 months to a year before he can get treatment in the hospital. I don't know if the medication will straighten him out or not. Judge Ramirez doesn't want him waiting that long in jail. So we propose that he talk to his mother, who wants to see if they can get along okay, and that he'll mind her. And if he will, then she's going to request of the court that he be released to her custody so she can get him treatment. But what she would do is take him to Ohio and get him treatment in Ohio. And once he's found competent, then he'll come back and address these charges. But for today, we're in court so she can talk to him personally.
Okay. So then I know that they're transporting him over from the county jail to our courtroom. What we'll do is we will just be on standby then, wait for him to come and visit with her, and then the court will give them the necessary time to confer and meet. And I guess we just need to give a reset date for a couple of what? Well, I guess she'd be asking for a PR bond, right?
Yes, but not yet until we resolve what's going to happen to him.
Okay.
Unless you want to grant him one now, because he's being held by the 332nd twos. But he would need a PR bond on all his cases if we're going to release him.
Okay. Let me wait. Let's see how the visit goes here in person, and we'll take it from there. Mr. McPherson, I don't know if you want to stand by here or if you'd like to return back to your office, or how you want to handle that.
No, I'm going to stand by and see how it goes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Now be excused.
Yes, temporarily.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Does anyone else have any announcements other than please? Any announcements other than please?
Your Honor, I have a quick announcement on the jail case.
All right. What? Who is that?
It's number 25 to 28, Your Honor. Luis Gabriel Zamora.
All right, that's 25, 26, 27, 28. Luis Gabriel Zamora. My understanding, Mr. Garcia, is that we have received a dismissal on number 26, number 27, and number 28. However, I didn't receive anything on number 25.
Correct, Your Honor. And that's one of the things I just wanted to see if we can either dismiss 25 as well, or in the process pass over the plea paperwork so I can go see Mr. Zamora and we can get done with these cases. He pled to the felony revocation, Your Honor, received 2 years TDC.
Was this an oversight, Mr. Heller, that the state intended to dismiss it as well?
Judge, and that's Ms. Jackie called me this morning regarding that case, and I've not had a chance to look into it yet. I'm only one person, Judge. I'll look into it after this docket is over and I can figure out what's going on. I'm not sure at this time. I can't tell the court what happened.
All right, Mr. Garcia, can I do this? Can I just reset it for next Tuesday? And if it gets taken care of administratively, then no need to worry about logging back on or taking care of it. I'm sure it'll take care of itself. If not, we'll see you on Tuesday and we'll work through it.
Very well, Judge. That sounds good. That's all I have, Your Honor, before this court. May I be excused?
Give me 1 second, Mr. Garcia. Hold on. I'm sorry, I just was reminded that next week is spring break. We're gonna set it up for the 22nd, and hopefully we'll try to take care of it administratively, okay?
Very well, Judge.
All right, so 3/22, 3/22
322, Judge.
at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia. Ms. Montes.
Good afternoon, Judge. We're
Good
here on Janie Talamantes.
All right, I have number 21, I'm sorry, it's number 21 and 22, CR 21-05531H and CR 21-04088H, State of Texas versus Janie Ashley Talamantes. All right, I understand that she's in quarantine until the 19th.
Okay,
Is that correct,
was-
Sheriff?
I'm not sure about that, Judge.
All right.
Alpha's the one that takes care of that.
I don't think they're logged
Judges?
on.
This is the one where I filed a joint motion for medical clearance a few days ago. I'm not sure if that order's been signed yet.
Did we signed it? Yes, it looks like we've signed it.
We need to get a copy to the jail.
Okay. So we just need some
Judge.
additional time.
yes.
Yes, Ms. Montes.
Judge, I'm here present with Ms. Talamantes' mother. There's just a concern that she's been waiting there to be taken to the state center since October. And she's just wanting to know, I guess, what the process is, how much longer it's gonna take. I think we all have the same concerns.
Right, I think this is,
And the problem is, Judge, the state center, we've spoken to state center, they are holding a bed for her right now. The problem is they can't let her in without her getting labs, and the jail is refusing to take her to get the labs done. And that was the purpose for the motion for medical clearance, so that maybe somebody from state center can come in and get labs done for her, or they can get access, somebody at the jail to do labs for her there, something along those lines. All we're waiting for is, all they need is labs, and they can let her in.
all right, so labs, and we can't get those labs done there at the county jail?
I'm not sure what the holdup is there. All I know is that they wouldn't allow state center to, they wouldn't take her to the hospital to get labs done. And so I'm not sure what's going on there.
On these cases, she's got 324 days and 330 days.
We're coming up on, I know.
All right, Ms. Montes?
Judge, I would ask for an order from the court to order the jail to get those labs done. She's been waiting there for a really long time, and she does need the help, Judge. She's very sick. I did get to meet with her on Monday, and her health is deteriorating.
And Judge, I do have a contact information for somebody that your staff or the jail staff can speak with that can explain the process of what the Rio Grande State Center needs.
Can you give that to Ms. Montes?
I can.
All right, go ahead, and then Ms. Montes, if you can prepare an order, I'll sign an order that you prepare that'll help expedite this. I wasn't aware of it. You know, we handle so many cases. I wasn't aware that that was an issue. I mean, I know we've been coming back and forth, but we kind of process
We just
everything.
found out yesterday, and this technically may very well apply to Mr. Riddle as well.
Yeah, okay. Let's share that information with Ms. Montes. It looks like she's gonna be on top of this.
I will. I'll speak with her after docket.
Okay, perfect. All right, Ms. Montes, if you can give me an order.
Yes, Judge.
And let's see what that can do. I mean,
It'll be agreed.
an agreed order,
Okay.
perfect.
Judge, and if we could have like a setting, maybe like in 2 weeks, just to make sure that this doesn't fall through the cracks.
Yeah, no, I understand. Let me give you the next 2 weeks, like not next Thursday, but the following. All right, the 24th,
Thank you, Your Honor.
and that'll be at 2 o'clock. So that's 2 weeks from today, 24th. And if you can get me that order, Melissa, I'll sign off on it.
Yes, Judge, I'll get it to you. Thank you. May we be excused?
Both of y'all are excused.
Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez, Eloy.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Yeah.
I'm here on a jail case. I'm not too sure if it's number 23 or 24 on your docket. Jesus Mauricio Vela.
It is number 23 and 24. My understanding is number 24 did in fact get dismissed, but I noticed that number 23 was not dismissed as part of that. I'm very similar to Mr. Garcia's case. I'm
And
suspecting.
Mr. Garcia's case, I find out what's going on. We received an email from felony to dismiss the 3 of the 4 cases, and I'm trying to clarify whether or not the 4th one was intended to be dismissed as well. As far as this one goes, I haven't looked into it yet.
Is that your understanding, Mr. Hernandez? You pled out to a felony and these are going to get disposed of as part of it?
Well, what happened, Your Honor, was I put him out yesterday in the 139th. My client, Mr. Vela, received a 4-year TDC sentence. The resisting arrest that he had out of the same transaction was dismissed. I asked the state previously on this case to see if they would consider dismissing this. I know, and obviously it was before Mr. Heller was in here, Your Honor, so I'm not holding him to that, but I had brought it up to the court previously and with the previous prosecutor, Your Honor, that the unlawful restraint case, the date of offense on that case was in 2016, but the information was not filed until last year, until 2021. So I had brought it up to the previous prosecutor to see if they could confirm that, and if so, I would argue that the statute of limitations expired back in 2018, but yet it wasn't filed until 2021. And so that's why it had been, it stayed pending because of the felonies, and I was finally able to dispose of the felonies yesterday. My client is going to be serving a 4-year sentence, Your Honor, and this is a 2016 case, Your Honor. So I know the previous prosecutor told me he was going to staff it with a supervisor to see if they agreed with. I think even if the court looks at the information on this case, it has a date of offense in 2016.
Mr. Heller, is this maybe something you could look at and we could maybe come back on the 24th and see where we're at?
Yes, we can look at it.
Eloy, is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor, and I can, and like I said, I know it was before Mr. Heller was in here, Your Honor, so I hadn't spoken to him about this, but I can reach out to him and just to see if he can confirm what I see in the system.
324 then, gentlemen. If we can take care of this administratively before that, then we want to definitely do that. But worst case scenario would be the 24th.
Yes, Your Honor, no problem.
Anything else, Eloy?
Your Honor, will that be at 2 p.m. as well?
Yes, sir. 2 p.m.
Okay, that's all that I have, Your Honor. May my client and I be excused?
Both of y'all are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
George, what do you have?
Judge, I have a plea. I'm not sure if court is taking plea announcements.
I think you're the last, or that was the last announcement other than a plea. So let me see. Are you Andrew Alexis Rios?
Yes, Andrew Rios, and I'm also standing in for Ted Lopez on a case that he has that's this client is in custody, Judge.
All right. Is that an announcement or a plea as well?
That's also a plea, Judge.
All right. Can you give me, let me see, is Andrew Alexis Rios. Andrew, can I hear your audio just to make sure it works, sir? Can you unmute yourself?
Hello?
Yes, perfect. It works. You can continue on mute. I'll call you here shortly, okay?
Okay.
All right. And number 13 and 14 are Mr. Ted Lopez's. Paul Ramirez, is that who you're handling?
Yes, Judge, it is.
All right. And are we proceeding on both cases, Mr. Heller?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sure, if I can get Mr. Paul Ramirez up. Ms. Del Bosque, you also have a plea, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, mine is a PTD placement.
All right, and let's see if I can find that one. Is that Efrain Fuentes?
That's correct, Judge, and he's on the screen.
All right, are we proceeding on both cases as well or just one?
Both.
Both, Judge.
Okay. All right, and Mr. Fuentes, can you unmute yourself so I can make sure your audio is working?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here, Your Honor.
Great, thank you, sir. Your audio is working fine. All right, Mr. Conche, who do you have?
Yes, Your Honor. I have an arraignment in Fox section. I have number 11 on the court's docket.
All right, that's Edwin Alejandro Orozco.
That's correct, Your Honor. He's set for arraignment. He's in custody.
All right, let me see if Edwin, if the sheriff can bring up Edwin Orozco real quick so I can arraign him. Edwin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Edwin Alejandro Orozco, can I have you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sir.
Your true and correct name, Edwin Alejandro Orozco. Is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Orozco, you're here before the court charged with the offense of possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces, a Class B misdemeanor. I need to make you aware that a Class B misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 6 months in the Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment you can receive for a Class B misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane?
No.
Counsel, speaking with your client, do you find him to be mentally competent, able to assist you in his own defense?
He is competent, Your Honor.
Court's going to go ahead and make a finding that Edwin Orozco is mentally competent. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty for him at this time. Mr. Concha, in terms of time frame, how much time are you looking for?
I mean, obviously as short as possible, Your Honor, but I believe there's a felony. He's got a pending felony.
Can I give you maybe the 29th or the 31st, somewhere around there? It's about 2 to 3 weeks.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, let me give you the 29th. March
Yes,
29th,
sir.
2022 at 2 o'clock, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Orozco, stay in contact with Mr. Conche. He'll be in contact with you. We'll see you on the 29th and see what happens with that felony, okay?
All right, sir.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, Mr. McPherson, let's go back to Matthew Dillon Riddle. You have an announcement for Mr. Riddle?
Yes, Judge. His mother has conferred with him and she would ask the court to set a PR bond on all of his misdemeanor cases and as a condition of bond that he's released to her custody.
All right,
And then her plans are to take him to Ohio for treatment.
all right. What says the state?
You're on mute.
Thank you for that. Judge, they would want to try getting him on medication first. We may be able to get, as I said with Mr. Talamantes, we may be able to get him a bed if we can get him screened quickly by the state center. But at least maybe getting him on medication and bringing him back. The report says he should be okay within the 4 months. If the court's inclined to give him a PR bond, then I would request that he'd be ordered to take medication and then we come back in about 4 months.
Okay, so let me get this straight. How would your proposal work? We would
get him a bed in state center and basically, or maybe just try to get him to take meds. Within 4 months, he should be okay. You can do that from either jail or from the state center.
And alternative B is release him to mom. Mom gives us.
Go out of state.
Yeah, go out of state.
And maybe never come back.
Yeah.
I don't understand exactly what the state's proposing. I just know he needs treatment.
And we agree with that, but we want him to stay here local.
And where would he get his treatment?
Well, either in jail, he can be administered medication if the court orders he take it. My understanding is that he's refusing to take medication.
Well, I don't know. My understanding is he was ordered to go to the hospital, or he's awaiting a bed in the mental hospital.
Right, the Rio Grande State Center. And if we can I can give Mr. McPherson the same number of the person that Ms. Montes is going to call. We can see what we can do to get him in there as soon as possible.
Does he have any felonies pending, Mr. McPherson? He does he not?
Yes, he does.
All right, so you're still gonna have to go and convince Judge Ramirez to give him a PR bond.
Correct.
All right, the court's gonna go ahead and grant a PR bond. And I'll let Mr. Ramirez decide based on the felonies what he wishes to do.
Thank you, Judge.
So it'll be a PR bond. If it's a 5,000, Jackie, just so you can know when you're working on the order, if it's a $5,000 bond, it'll be a $5,000 PR bond. If it's a $2,500 bond, it'll be a $2,500 PR bond. So we're just gonna make those PR bonds, each one.
I think there's a total of 5 cases.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, sir. All the cases are $2,500 with the exception of the criminal mischief, which is 5,000. So again, 5,000 PR bond, all the rest $2,500 PR bonds. Did you say 4-month reset? Is that what you were asking for, Yuri?
Well, that's what the report said. He'd be, if he starts taking medication, he'll be okay in about 4 months.
Judge, can I give you an August date?
That's fine.
I can give you August 11th. And
All right.
you want in the afternoon or morning?
Good morning.
August 11th.
2022 at 9:30.
And Judge, as a condition, we would ask that the court order the defendant to comply with any medical treatment that is prescribed.
That'll be ordered. And he's also going to be ordered to remain in the care and custody of his mother. All right, make sure you put that in the order, Jackie. Anything else for today, Mr. McPherson?
I'm sorry?
Anything else?
No, that's all. May I be excused? My
Your
time.
excuse. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And would you like to visit a little bit longer? You can visit with him as long as I'm here. Okay. All right. Ms. Galvan, Monica, do you have a plea by any chance?
He does, Judge.
Your Honor, I do. I don't see my client on the screen.
Let me see so that we can get you on your way in case he's not here or she's not here.
And he did office yesterday to sign the plea paperwork, so he'd be on. I don't know if something might have happened with his computer system or something of that nature.
No problem. Jesus, let me see, Jesus Rojas Lopez. Jesus Rojas Lopez. I don't see Jesus Rojas Lopez. Would it be okay if I give you the 22nd, Monica, as maybe a follow-up plea date?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll try to get my office to reach him and give him the new date.
Yes, the 22nd, 2 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm back.
Perfect. All right. I was about to get started, so you're not late. You're just on time. Okay. So let's go ahead and call our jail cases. We have one, Paul Ramirez, if I can have him up. He'll be the first one. Paul Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, you're going to be the first one to answer all my questions, so listen carefully. Be ready to answer the question when called upon, okay?
Judge, I think Mr. Rudy Cancha has an announcement on his jail case.
Oh,
That
does
he's right now.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm back.
Okay, Mr. Concha,
Number
Yes,
11.
Your Honor.
what number?
Number 11,
11
Your
and
Honor.
12.
11 and 12. All right, your announcement, Mr. Concha.
Yes, Your Honor. Apparently, they're not going to enhance the assault, so he does not have a felony pending. So I respectfully request an earlier date so that way we can dispose of Mr. Orozco's cases.
Okay, I can give you the 24th. The thing is that I'm going to be out next week, which is spring break. Unless you can maybe find another judge to handle it next week, I'm perfectly okay with that as well.
I seriously doubt I'm going to find another judge, Your Honor. I mean, the 24th would then be fine.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday after spring break.
It's the
Okay.
22nd, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 22nd. 22nd, I apologize.
Okay. No problem, Your Honor.
All right, the 22nd at 2
All
o'clock.
right, Your Honor.
And
Will
that
the
was-
state be able to provide me with discovery before then, Your Honor?
By your motion, we'll try to get it to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we will see you on the 22nd then.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, so we've got Paul Ramirez, and my understanding is, George, you're standing in for Ted.
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
All right, then we have Efrain Fuentes, who will be next to answer all my questions, followed by Andrew Alexis Rios. Those are the three pleas that I believe I have at this time. Let's get started with the three of you. If I can have the three of you, please raise your right hand. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I'm going to start with Paul Ramirez.
He's a Spanish speaker, Judge.
All right, Carlos. If I can have Paul Ramirez, please raise his right hand.
A tu mano derecha, Paul Ramírez.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Porque testimonio que habrá esta tarde va a ser la verdad y solamente la verdad.
Sí.
Yes.
All right. What about Mr. Efrain Fuentes
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Andrew Alexis Rios?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You all three of you may lower your hands. We are here in CR 19-00153H, as well as CR 21-01839H, State of Texas versus Paul Martin Ramirez. Sir, is that your true and correct name?
Paul Martin Ramírez, su nombre correcto y verdadero.
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramirez, you're here before the court charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class A misdemeanor, and assault causing bodily injury, a Class A misdemeanor.
Señor Ramírez, usted se encuentra ante la corte porque eres acusado de una ofensa de manejando intoxicado, que es una segunda ofensa. Se considera un delito menor clase A. Y también está ante la corte por un caso de agresión, que también es considerado un delito menor clase A.
I need to advise you that Class A misdemeanors carry a potential penalty of up to 1 year in the Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment you could receive for a Class A misdemeanor?
Ramírez, tengo que avisarle que un delito menor clase A, lo máximo de castigo que usted puede recibir por estas ofensas es hasta 1 año de cárcel desbandado y una multa de $4,000 por las dos cosas, ya sea encontrar culpable. ¿Sí entiende lo máximo de castigo que puede recibir?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. In CR 21-12-395H, State of Texas versus Efrain Fuentes. Sir, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Fuentes, you're here before the court charged with the offense of fleeing a police officer, a Class B misdemeanor. And in CR 21-08-521H, you are charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. I need to advise you, Mr. Fuentes, that Class B misdemeanors carry a potential penalty of up to 6 months in the Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment you could receive for both of your Class B misdemeanors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. In CR 21-13-104H, State of Texas versus Andrew Alexis Rios. Sir, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rios, you're here before the court charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. I need to advise you that a Class B misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 6 months in the Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment you could receive for a Class B misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
All of you have the right to an attorney and the right to a trial by jury, but you can waive one or both of those rights by signing a document. Did each of you have an opportunity to review a document with your attorney before signing it? I'll start with Mr. Ramirez.
Ramírez, usted tiene el derecho de tener un abogado presente con usted y el derecho de presentar su caso en tu jurado. Puede renunciar uno o los dos derechos firmando ciertos documentos. ¿Tuvo la oportunidad de revisar esos documentos con su abogado antes de que los firmaras?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fuentes
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Rios.
Yes, sir.
Did each of you understand that when you signed those documents with your attorney, you were waiving your right to a trial by jury? Did you understand you were waiving your right to a trial by jury, Mr. Ramirez?
Ya, Ramírez, entendiste que cuando firmaste esos documentos estaba renunciando a su derecho de presentar su caso en tu jurado. ¿Sí entendió?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
How about you, Mr. Fuentes
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
Court's gonna go ahead and accept your waiver of trial by jury. Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane, Mr. Ramirez?
Señor Ramírez, ¿alguna corte alguna vez te ha declarado mentalmente incompetente o que está loco?
No, señor.
No, sir.
Mr. Fuentes?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Rios?
No, sir.
Counsel, in speaking with your clients, do you find them to be mentally competent, able to assist? On behalf of Mr. Ted Lopez, Mr. George Munoz.
Mr. Ramirez is competent, Judge.
What about with your client, Andrew Rios?
Mr. Rios is competent as well, Judge.
Ms. Del Bosque, on behalf of Mr. Fuentes.
Mr. Fuentes is competent and able to assist, Your Honor.
Court's gonna go ahead and make a finding that all the defendants before the court, they're all mentally competent, they're all able to assist their attorneys in their own defense. Do you each understand that if the punishment that I assess, if that punishment does not exceed what is recommended by the state, you will need this court's permission if you decide to file an appeal? Do you understand that, Mr. Ramirez?
Señor Ramírez, ¿entiende si el castigo que le doy no sobrepasa lo que está recomendando el fiscal? Si usted decide apelar este caso, necesita pedir permiso a esta corte primero. ¿Entiendes?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fuentes
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
Do you further understand that the court does not have to accept the recommendation of the state? Do you understand that, Mr. Ramirez?
Señor Ramírez, ¿entiende que la corte no tiene que aceptar la recomendación del fiscal? ¿Entiende? ¿Sí entiende? ¿Perdón?
No entendí. O sea, no.
Entiende que la corte no tiene que aceptar la recomendación del fiscal, lo que le están ofreciendo. ¿Entiendes?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fuentes,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
At this time, I must ask each of you, are you U.S. citizens? I'll start with Mr. Ramirez.
Señor Ramírez, ¿es ciudadano americano?
No.
No.
Mr. Fuentes,
I am, Your Honor.
thank you. Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramirez, because you're not a U.S. citizen, your plea of guilty or no contest may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under U.S. federal law. Do you understand those immigration consequences?
Señor Ramírez, ¿entiende que si lo encuentro culpable, al declararse culpable o no lo contener en estos casos, puede tener consecuencias con la inmigración, en cual pudiera ser deportado, negar la entrada para este país, o le puede afectar la aplicación para ciudadanía? ¿Sí entiendes?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Knowing and understanding those immigration consequences, do you still wish to go forward here today?
Entendiendo estas consecuencias que pudiera pasar con la inmigración, ¿sigue siendo su deseo proceder con sus casos aquí hoy?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Ramirez, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, a second offense. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Señor Ramírez, a la ofensa de manejar intoxicado, una segunda ofensa, un delito menor clase A, ¿usted cómo se declara?
Culpable.
Guilty.
To the offense of assault causing bodily injury, a class A misdemeanor, how do you plead?
A la ofensa de agresión, un delito menor clase A, ¿cómo se declara esta ofensa?
Culpable.
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty to both of these offenses freely and voluntarily?
¿Está declarando culpable voluntariamente?
Mande.
¿Está declarando culpable voluntariamente?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Efrain Fuentes, to the offense of fleeing a police officer, a class B misdemeanor, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
To the offense of driving while intoxicated, a class B misdemeanor, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily to both offenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Andrew Alexis Rios, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
You are pleading not guilty at this time, or Mr. Munoz, would you care to visit with your client?
Yes, yes, Judge, if you can, we had talked about this, remember, you're pleading guilty, but if you complete the program, it's going to be a dismissal.
Is he going to be put on pretrial diversion?
For Andrew Rios?
Yes.
Yes, Judge, he's going to be put on pretrial diversion.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rios, one of the requirements for a pretrial diversion is the state does require that you plead guilty. You have to do so voluntarily, and then they'll put you on a program. And then if you successfully complete the program, then the case will be dismissed. But it does require that you, A, plead guilty, B, that plea of guilty has to be done voluntarily. And then it requires that you be put on the program for a year, and that you comply with all the conditions of the pretrial diversion program in order for the case to be dismissed. I don't know if that was explained to you by Mr. Munoz. I'm assuming it was. So I will ask you again, is your desire still to plead not guilty or to change your plea?
Guilty, sir.
And are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily, Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
All right. Court's going to go ahead and accept your pleas. All of your pleas is being freely and voluntarily given. I'll call for state's evidence at this time.
It offers plea documents and offense reports, States Exhibit 1, notification of appeal of States 2, waiver of Article 39.14 of States 3, waiver of risk and needs assessment of States 4, PTD package of States 5. State would also request defense counsel stipulate the venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court and further stipulate that all evidence that has been e-filed is sufficient to corroborate the guilty plea.
No objection, so stipulated, Judge, on behalf of Ramirez and Rios.
Your Honor, no objection so stipulated as to venue and jurisdiction. The evidence is sufficient as to Mr. Fuentes.
There being no objection, state's exhibits are hereby admitted in CR 19-00153H, as well as CR 22-01-839H, State of Texas versus Paul Martin Ramirez. It is the judge of the court that Mr. Ramirez is guilty as charged on both cases. What is the recommendation?
Judge, on CR 19-00153H, the recommendation is a $300 fine, court costs, 365 days, Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 16 months, 8 months mobile alcohol monitoring, repeat offender program, 180-day driver license suspension, 40 community service hours, and 3 days in Hidalgo County Jail by statute.
Questions or requests on behalf of your client, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, Judge, we're asking the court for any consideration of the fine and court cost, Judge. I believe he does have an ICE hold, Judge, so I'd ask for permission for him to report by mail, Judge.
All right, let's do the 3 days in Stanter. That way he's already there. There's no reason for him not to do the next 3 days. Mr. Ramirez, the court's going to go ahead and order that the 3 days be performed in Stanter starting today. Carlos, will you let him know?
Señor Ramírez, los 3 días adicionales va a pedir que se va a ordenar pues que se hagan inmediatamente, ya que estás ahí.
Sí.
Yes.
All right, and I'll waive the fine and waive the court costs for those days that he'll spend. I will allow him to, you said report by mail, is that what you said?
That's for.
And that's because he's gonna be deported?
I believe he may, Judge, or in the event that he does, we're asked that if he does get deported, that he be allowed to report by mail.
All right, in the event that he does get deported, we'll go ahead and allow that.
Okay.
All right. In the assault case, what is the recommendation?
$300 fine, court costs, 1 year, Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 1 year, anger management, 40 community service hours, and open restitution.
All right, I need a restitution date. Jackie, can you get me one? You're on mute, by the way.
March 31st.
March 31st?
Yes.
All right, March 31st, 2022 at 9:30 for the restitution. Questions or requests on behalf of your client, George?
Judge, same request on this case, Judge, any consideration of the fine and court costs, and also that if in the event he gets deported, that he'll be allowed to report by mail.
All right, in this case, I'll give him 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court cost. I'll waive the CSR hours as well. And in the event that he is deported, he can report by mail. We do need a phone number from him.
Señor Ramírez, la Corte lo va a encontrar culpable de esta ofensa. Van a ser 16 meses de libertad condicional por la ofensa de manejar intoxicado. Suspensión de licencia por 6 meses, ahora junto con la suspensión que ya tiene. Le va a quitar las horas de servicio a la comunidad. Tiene que atender el programa de ofensas repetitorias. Y como le avisé, los 3 días adicionales tiene que hacerlos inmediatamente. En ese caso, el juez le va a quitar la multa y costos de corte. En el caso de agresión, también ha sido encontrado culpable. Tiene una multa de $300. Los costos de corte, en cual el juez le va a dar 90 días para que pague. Tiene que tener clases para el genio. Y vamos a tener una audiencia el 31 de marzo a las 9:30 de la mañana. Y en ese caso va a estar bajo libertad condicional por 1 año. Si es que lo deportan, va a permitir de que se reporte por correo. Necesitamos un número de teléfono por usted, señor.
Ahorita.
Sí.
956-400-2870.
956-400-2870.
Thank you. Just let him know that the intake department will call him if he's still in custody, just for him to return the phone call after he gets released.
¿Alguien de la Oficina de Libertad Condicional se va a comunicar con usted, señor? Si es que hoy está encarcelado, regresa la llamada.
Okay.
Ok.
All right, your excuse, sir. Thank you.
Gracias por retirarse.
All right, and CR 21-12-395H, as well as CR 21-08-521H, State of Texas versus Efrain Fuentes. It is a judgment of the court that you're guilty as charged. Now, Mr. Fuentes, you're seeking to be placed in the pretrial diversion program. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And I'll go ahead and take care of CR 21-13-104H, State of Texas versus Andrew Alexis Rios. It is a judgment of the court that you're guilty as charged. And Mr. Rios is also seeking to be placed on the pretrial diversion program. Is that correct, Mr. Rios?
Yes, that's correct, Judge.
All right. Mr. Fuentes and Mr. Rios, the pretrial diversion program is a contract that both of you all are asking to be placed on. It is a contract whereby you are agreeing to comply with the conditions of the pretrial diversion program, and in exchange, the state is agreeing to dismiss the charges against you. Do you understand the terms and conditions as was explained to you by way of signing the documents for pretrial diversion, Mr. Fuentes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rios?
Yes, sir.
Before placing you on the program, the court's going to go ahead and suspend the finding of guilt. But before placing you on the program, I'm going to ask both of you, is there anything that I need to, any modifications or any conditions that we need to discuss before placing you on the program? And I'll start with Mr. Fuentes. Anything on his behalf, Ms. Del Bosque?
No, Your Honor, not that I'm aware of. I don't believe that there are any CSR hours that were required.
Mr. Heller, are there any CSR hours that were required? Usually they are.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I'll check the paperwork.
And if there are, let me ask this question, Mr. Fuentes, are you gainfully employed at this time?
I'm a retired military, Your Honor.
All right. The court will go ahead and waive the CSR hours for your service, if there are any.
It's usually 24 hours for PTD, Judge.
Okay, we'll go ahead and waive those for your
Thank you.
service in the military. Mr. Fuentes, anything else or any other conditions that we need to address, leaving the county, anything of that sort that I'm just asking. I don't know.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then
If
the
you need,
court,
you can ask for permission, Judge.
right. The court's going to go ahead then and place you on the pretrial diversion program. It does require in this case, it's a 1-year status. So we will see each other on March the 9th, 2023 at 9:30. Reset March 9th, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning.
Thank
We
you,
do need a
Your Honor.
phone number from you, Mr. Fuentes. Can you give us that, please?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 956-878-9145, Your Honor.
Your intake department will be contacting you in about 5 business days.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, quick question on the Fleeing. Was he getting placed also on PTD?
Yes.
Okay, because that was a 6-month status.
Okay, I'm sorry. We can come back on that one, September 8th. So we have September 8th and March 9th.
Same time, Judge, on September 8th?
Yes, ma'am, same time.
Thank you.
So September 8th and March 9th, both at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have before this honorable court. May I be excused?
Both you and Mr. Fuentes are excused.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Mr. Rios, same question. Or is there any modifications or any suggestions that we need to discuss before placing you on the pretrial diversion program? Either Mr. Munoz or Mr. Rios.
Judge, if he's working, Judge, I'd ask the court to consider waiving the CSR hours or going to school. Not sure if he is.
Are you working or going to school, Mr. Rios?
I'm going to work, sir.
Where do you work?
Holiday Wine Liquor.
Okay. How long have you been there?
Like 6 to 7 months, maybe 9, I'm guessing.
Okay. Court will go ahead and waive your community service hours for being gainfully employed. All right. The court's going to place you on the pretrial diversion program. It does require a status. We will go ahead and give you a 1-year status on March 9th, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. We do need a phone number from you.
It's 956-641-5789.
Our intake department will be calling you in about 5 business days.
All right, anything else, Mr. Munoz?
Not on Mr. Rios' case, Judge. May he be excused?
He's excused.
I do have one other announcement, Judge. It's an announcement for Angel Davila, for attorney Angel Davila. He has a client that's in custody at Jesus Morales.
All right, Jesus Morales, it's number 10, CR 22005000H, State of Texas versus Jesus Alejandro Morales.
Judge, and he has a pending felony, Judge. We're asking the court for 30 days.
That was a recent date given of April 19th, Judge.
April 19th already? All right, April 19th at 2 o'clock.
April 19th at 2 o'clock. Perfect. That's all I have this afternoon, Judge. May I be excused, my clients as well?
Yes, you're excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Have a good day. All right, Sheriff, do we have anybody there that we still need to give you reset dates that maybe my staff has received those dates?
Baldasso David.
All right, Jackie, do we have any dates for David Baldasso?
The attorney didn't log in.
Attorney didn't log in. Do we have anything, Yuri, any communication?
Judge, it was Sergio Munoz. I don't think so. Let me check my email.
Let me go ahead and give it March 22nd, 2 o'clock.
I did give him some recommendations, but he rejected them. And I told him to make me a counteroffer. Waiting for a counteroffer.
Okay, March 22nd, 2 o'clock, Sheriff.
Okay, I have a Jorge Barbosa.
It's number 5. Any information from that?
He's got a
Felonies pending, Judge.
Felonies pending?
Correct.
We can go ahead and give him, what do you think, April
I would say April, the second week of April.
12th?
Yes.
April 12th at 2 o'clock. Mr. Rios, you're excused, by the way. I'm sorry if you're waiting.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, I have a Jesus Lozano.
March 22nd.
Antonio Martinez.
March 29th.
Ricardo Ramos.
March 24th.
That'll be it, Judge.
All right, that takes care of our docket for today.
Thank you.
Judge, I do have some information on you on those 2 cases from earlier.
All right, can you give me the names one more time?
Let me look for it real quick. It was number 25.
All right, number 25. That's with Eloy Garcia, Gabriel, Luis Gabriel Zamora.
Yes, Judge, I found out what happened. Jay forgot to inform me that part of the plea agreement was time served on this one.
So we're going to give him a time served on the 22nd.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take care of it on the 22nd then.
And on the other one, I have to staff it with Melissa.
Okay, perfect. That takes care of our docket for today.